Hi. Sorry, I'm a little late. Okay. So just wait a few minutes to start. We're just waiting for one person. Okay, so we'll just get started. If it's comfortable, have a seat on your knees. I'm going to face this way just so you can kind of see what's going on. So you have a seat on your knees. If you can, the thighs are touching. And you can relax your hands on your thighs. And just like in yoga, try to find a long spine. And find a few deep breaths in your long spine. Just relaxing the shoulders back and giving the little lift of the sternum. So nothing too much of an exaggeration. Also, I'm Gabby, and this is Pilates. So our 45-minute class. So once we have our long spine, we'll just get more intentional, feeling where the sit bones touch the backs of the feet, where the hamstrings touch the shins. So using this feeling in your body to create some landmarks for when we start to move, for what starts to kind of activate. And you can take your hands onto your hips. So on either side of your hips, just kind of feel if one hand feels higher than the other, or if there's more pressure in one palm or the other. It's fine if they're just kind of normal, kind of hanging out. And now we're going to try to move the pelvis. So picture your pelvis and try to kind of move one hand a little bit lower, pull the belly forward. That's going to pull, spill the pelvis forward. Then to the other side, it's not going to move side to side so much, and we know how to tuck, kind of tucking your bum under, giving it a squeeze, and a little bit faster. So starting to move around, almost like a hula hoop, kind of feeling around and around in the pelvis. So notice we're moving kind of the whole body to do that. Let's try to get out of the whole body and more into the pelvis. So you can even close your eyes. And if it's rocking back and forth and not side to side, that's okay too. Pushing the spilling, like spilling water out from the belly button to the side and then closing that gap up. And whatever side you did, we'll do the other side. So maybe counterclockwise. And it kind of feels nice, like you're making room in your body, turning the pelvis around and around and around. Good. So next time you finish your circle, find somewhere in the middle. So we don't want to be too far back where we fall or too far forward. Like these two hand points are pulling in. We have your stable pelvis. Now we'll move on to the rib cage. Pilates is really about the relationship between our ribs and our pelvis. Let's do the same thing. Sometimes ribs are easier to move. Push them into one hand. Spill them forward, like you're opening up the last rib to the side and then a little bit back. So going for a little swim around the spine. Still, you can picture that whole tall spine in the middle, and we're kind of moving the rib cage around and around just by pressing more into one palm and the other. So as much as you can, keeping that pelvis nice and stable, and then do the other side. So we'll get started the other way. You might feel like you kind of loosened up some space around the rib cage and around the chest. Good. So we'll come back to the center, relax our hands onto our thighs or hold onto your knees, and we'll go for a big circle with both of them. So just trust yourself like you're leaning forward, pull the heart up and let the belly spill to the side, and then we close it all in. Good. So going clockwise like 3 more times. You can think of it like a yoga cat-cow, but really more of a rotation around and around. And we'll go the other way. So to the side that you didn't do first, the front, opening up. When you get to the back, really squeezing your glutes and your belly. And we're going up and around. Nice. So that was our little warm up. We're going to add on to this. Come into your neutral spine. Make sure your feet are flat to the mat. Give yourself a round. So let's tuck the tailbone. Give your bum a little bit of a squeeze, like you're thrusting forward. Maybe you look forward and use your arms and come up onto your knees with that extra tuck of the butt on top. It's going to be a lot for your thighs. Just hold it and feel like if you can tuck even more. Come down and then release. Good. So we'll do that tucking first and coming down not as high. It's going to be more of a challenge. So if we go here, it's a little bit easier than here. And let's hold that for 3. Squeezing the belly, squeezing your glutes, tucking the tailbone, and we lower. Nice. Now, if you can, we'll add some of the arms. So same thing, shins press down, big breath in. Squeeze your bum, tuck your tailbone, so put the corset around. Lift up not too high, tuck even more. We're going for 4 arm circles. Circle the arms forward without moving anything else. 2, squeezing the belly. It's getting a lot harder. 3, and 4. Pause and have a seat. And we'll do it just one more time with the arms going the other way. Really nice wake up for the legs, for the low belly. Breath in, breath out, tuck. Keep the squeeze, keep the belly in. We come up. Arms reach out. Relax the shoulders back. Arms circle back. Biggest circle you can make. So that was 1, 2. Feeling those ribs pulling back. 3 and 4. Nice. Come back into your seat. Just shift your legs out from in front of you. So we're in a little seat, feet flat to the mat, if you can. Good, and we'll do a roll down. So getting back down to the mat, but in our Pilates way. So feet are pressing against the mat. Knees are not coming out, they're squeezing a little bit in towards each other. Reach your arms forward. Imagine you're holding something between your palms. Give that tailbone a tuck, the ribs pushing back, and you keep going on your way. But imagine the whole time you're doing that rounding of the low back, the rounding of the rib cage. They touch the mat first, then your shoulders, then the back of your head. Arms keep going, thumbs touch the ground as your ribs press down. When we stay, we lengthen the legs super long. You can have your feet flexed. Now keep your ribs pressing against the mat, both sides of your ribs, so not just one side. You're really spreading those ribs in between the shoulders. The chin is slightly tucked. Reach your arms like you're going to touch the ceiling. And go back. So what we don't want is for anything to pop out away from the mat. We're squeezing, pressing the last rib down, the middle of the sternum into the mat. As you press down, you reach the arms. Maybe the thumbs touch, but we don't want anything else to lift. And the arms come back over. Nice. And one more. So it's like a stretch, but we're getting the upper abdomen to activate as we go. Nice. Now with the hands over the head, you can relax the feet if they're flexed. Call these rib rolls. So one hand is going to reach higher than the other hand. Both arms are straight. One of your rib cage is peeling off the mat, and the other one is pushing down even more. So feel the lift of one shoulder blade, one rib cage, and the press of the other. Then transfer the weight back down and reach the other side. So not too much effort, it's just to see which side doesn't like to press down into the mat as much. And if you don't notice a difference, we're just practicing pushing one side, lifting the other, pushing one side, lifting the other. You can go as fast or as slow as you need. Good, so we'll do about one more. Nice. Now we're used to the ribs pushing down. Spread each one of your ribs into the mat. There's a little bit even of in between the shoulder blades pressing down. We're going to bend the elbows and take the hands behind your head. Continue that press down so the back of your head is really pressing against the hands. So practice that. The head is pushing more into the hands, into the mat. The ribs are pulling you down. Chin is tucked, big breath in. Let's lift the head and the shoulders off the mat to look at the toes. Without the head pulling forward on its own, the head is pushing back into the hands. I'm going to breathe in, come up an inch higher, and zip up like the belly button's going in towards the spine. Take an inhale. Reach one arm forward like you're going to touch your toes on the exhale. Inhale, bend the elbow, hand comes back behind your head. Exhale, reach the other arm forward, really like we're going to touch the toes. Really nice. One more each side. Hand comes back. Try to lift an inch higher every time. Reach to touch your toes. Inhale. Exhale, we stay and we reach. Really nice. Hand comes back. Take the breath in. Curl down on the breath out. Good. Now we'll take the hands onto the tops of the hip points. Like before, try to feel which one is a little bit higher. Maybe one feels like you're leaning to one side. Let's try to get like an even, like a teacup can kind of rest right in between your hands. So right away, probably the ribs let go a little bit of the mat. That's normal. Let's just give them a little push down. So upper spine is really pushing down into the mat. And bend one of your knees and drag the heel in without disturbing your hands and without too much tension in those little hip flexors that are underneath your hands. So give some of that tension to your abdomen just by pressing the ribs down, squeezing the belly, and bend the other knee. And try to relax underneath your hands as you march. We call these heel slides. You bend one knee in, you slide it out without wobbling and without too much tension in those pulleys of your leg. Allow the belly to start to work. So if you're not sure if your belly is working, always think of it going deeper and deeper into the mat, or your belly button lifting in towards your chin. Good, so just a few of those. Okay, so we have the pelvis stable as we move the legs, and we had our ab curl in. So now, your arms are gonna be your elbows are gonna be a little bit as wide as your mat if you have one. The hands can be free, or you can make little fists with your palms. Your legs are long, you're gonna take a big breath in. The chin is gonna go in towards the throat. On your way up, all the weight comes into your elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades at the top. So there's really like, if the elbows are too close in, you're not gonna feel it so much. Allow the elbows to be wide. And up here, we hold for 3, 2, 1. Like you're squeezing, then you let go of the shoulders and you roll down slow. I'll do 4 more of those. You'll start to feel it more when you squeeze all of the back body. So inhale. Elbows press down, chin in, and squeeze. So like you are doing like a bench press or something, all of that is squeezing in the back body. 3, 2, 1, and let it go in pieces. Breath in, breath out on your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades. So working that whole back body. You can see your toes. Good. And 2 more. Breath in, fill up, breath out, curling up like you're trying to squish something. Hold it, press the elbows down. And last one, breath in, breath out. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Nice, and roll back down. Good. So from here, we're gonna kind of build on that. So press the backs of the arms, press those triceps into the ground. We're gonna bend our knees. Press the whole back of the rib cage, back of the, in between the shoulders. So put a belt on around this whole section of your body, from where your elbows are bent to your shoulders. Like in a bridge, so the feet are pressing down. Let's lift the bum off the ground, but let's see how far we can get without all of this lifting off the ground too. So there's 2 things happening. You're pushing down with the upper spine and lifting the bum really with those hamstrings and the glutes. We keep the bum lifted about an inch or as high as you can go. Find again that kind of pelvic tuck. So get those glutes involved, squeeze them towards the hamstrings. Lift your toes off of the mat. The more you lift your toes, the more you press down the backs of your arms, and we'll go for a tiny little walk forward. Think like the bum is floating, the heels are walking forward, making the legs longer and longer. It helps the more you push, like you're scrubbing the floor with your upper spine. So when your legs are almost long, hold that for a second, and walk your feet slowly back in. As long as the bum is lifted off the ground. Good, and we'll take 1 second break. Just let everything go. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And we'll do that one more time, pressing the whole back of the arm, squishing it down, scrubbing your ribs into the floor. Press your feet, curl the pelvis, and lift the bum just about an inch off of the ground. Flex your feet. Going for a walk, start, if you remember, with the other leg first, reaching forward with one heel, then the other one. The longer the legs get, the more we need to remember to push everything we can into the mat as we go for our little walk. Hold where you feel almost a cramp behind the legs. Curl the pelvis even more. And we walk back into our bridge. Really nice. Now press into your bridge, curl the pelvis. Now allow for the lift. More of a yoga bridge, and take your arms flat to the ground to get a stretch, trying to pull the sternum in towards your chin. And we'll roll it down. So in parts, rolling the back body, the ribs, middle back, and flattening the pelvis back down to the ground. Good. So now, kind of bringing everything together, we're going to have the long arms by your sides. Again, with the press of the arms. This time you have your forearms, you have your hands, you have your triceps, and the tips of your shoulders. We're going to bring our legs into a tabletop. This is Pilates tabletop. The knees are in line with the hips. There's a slight tuck of your chin to get really that middle part of your head. So we don't want to be looking side to side for this one. We are going to take a big breath in. On the breath out, press the backs of the arms, lift your hips 1 inch, and lower them as slow as you can. So we start with bent knees. You can straighten the legs if you need. It's really about resisting the way down. And we have 4 more. So breath in, breath out. We lift the bum up high and resist the roll down. Even if you resist for a second, you'll feel it in the triceps. Breath in. So 3, up, and we roll slowly down. Keep your head down. 2 more. Really nice. The knees lift, the bum lift, and we roll slowly down the mat. And last one. Setting up, pressing into the arms, squeezing, curling in the belly and the pelvis. Breathe in, breathe out, knees up, and roll down slow. So nice. So probably the triceps are burning a little bit. You could flip the palms up. Still we're lying down. One leg is long. We'll bend one knee and bring that knee in towards the chest. So just like a little wind relieving pose. Good. But it's Pilates, so we'll make it a little bit harder. We're going to do our bicycle here, and we're going to slow it down a lot. So when we slow things down, they become a lot harder, but we get to see what's going on. So I'll switch my legs just so you can see, but you can use any leg first. We're going to have one knee bent, hands behind the head. Like before, press the head into your hands. And like before, try to get a pelvis that's stable. Probably when we bent one knee, we kind of fell to one side. Press into that other hip and those other ribs that are on the other side of you. Good. We're going to take a breath in and come up. You can always have this leg pointed and lifted for more of a challenge. Once you're up, breathe in. Breathe out. Try to get the elbow to touch the knee or close to the knee, but we stay. We inhale. And we curl in even more. Try to get as much as you can off of the mat on your exhale. And we stay for another breath in. And we curl even more. Elbow to knee on the breath out. Nice. And we turn to center. Inhale. And we roll down. Exhale. Relax your leg, but keep your knee. We're going to go for 2 more like that. Super slow motion. So stay on the same side. You might feel this in the pit of your abdomen. This is getting into the deeper layer of your abdomen. It might feel kind of weird, but kind of nice. So breath in, ribs press down, curl up. Your leg can be lifted. Turn. So you're pressing one ribs more, and then we're trying to get both off of the mat. So you're getting a scoop of the belly. One more inhale. Little pulse towards your knee. And turn to center, relax the leg, and relax down. So 1, and we won't keep it as long. Breathe in, curl up, turn, and round, 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 round. So ribs are pressing, everything else is lifting. Good. And we come down and switch your legs. Wind relieving on the other side. Hold on to your knee and pull it in. We'll let go of that leg and see if you can try to get these evenness of the hips. Probably pull one hip heavier, the one that's not bent. So if you're ready, hands, always you can keep this leg down. More of a challenge, it's lifted and also pointed. Take an inhale. Press the ribs down to get the head up. Breathe in, so we're opening the chest. Breath out, pulling the navel in and crossing over and seeing if those can touch. Lifting the other shoulder off of the mat. And holding another breath in and another breath out. One more inhale and one more exhale. Relax your leg, turn to center and roll down. Good, you can keep your hands where they are. This is a super slow bicycle. Sometimes when we do this fast, we end up using some momentum, which isn't bad, it's just a bit different. So we'll take an inhale, getting ready to move, leg lifts, head lifts, turning to one side, squeezing those obliques on that side, trying to lift. Imagine lifting more of your shoulders off of the mat. Still breathing into the back body, pulling the navel in to center and back down. And we have one last one. Take an inhale. Exhale, we come up, shoulders lift, belly squeezes. Turn, maybe you connect the elbow this time, rounding, push your ribs back, squeeze your bum even, get even longer in your legs. And we come down, both legs are long. Good. So now we will come up the same way we came down in that roll up. If you need to bend your knees a lot, you can, if you know you're tight behind the legs. If not, the legs are relatively long, soften the knees. Reach the arms like you're gonna touch the ceiling. Tuck the chin. Push onto the ribs, and we're looking at our toes. And we keep pushing and lifting. There's a place we want to rush, probably around here. Squeeze your bum. You can always use your hands, good, to come up. So now we're up on our sitting bones. We won't do too much sitting down, but we have one really fun one. So with your hands behind you, like we've been doing with a bit of that tricep work, put your hands somewhere you need your hands. So if you didn't have your hands, you would fall backwards. And we're gonna pull that rib cage in and we're gonna squeeze those shoulders. So we don't want any like hunching, hanging out, really nice. We have a kind of contracted back body. From here, we're gonna bend one knee in towards the chest. And when you do that, you're really pushing into your hands. There's a scoop of the belly, you're gonna bring another knee in towards the chest. Nice. We're gonna take an inhale, kick an imaginary wall. It might get a little dicey. Bring them in. This is our warm up, and we're kicking the imaginary wall. From here, the legs are up high. Take an inhale, push into your hands, squeeze the belly. Take them to one side, and you can relax. So with our Pilates feet, we join the heels together. So there's almost a little fan of the feet. The heels are pressing together, so the inner thighs have lots of space to press. What we're gonna do is take the legs from one side to another and back. Squeeze the belly and lean back a lot. It's gonna help transfer some of that weight back. Trust your triceps, take an inhale. We lift the legs like they're going over something and just barely tapping the ground. And we go up and we go down. So that was one, and we have 4 more. Push your palms, lift the chest, squeeze the belly up and around, up and around. When you pretend you have one leg squeezing together, it gets a lot easier to lift. If we can, 3 more, up and around. Up and around. Nice. Up and around without losing. So I'm losing some of my shoulder. Let's squeeze it, press it. Up and around. Up and around. We have 1 more. Belly in, up and around. So definitely inside of the legs working. Hip flexors are working. Good. And we're done. So I'm going to come to one side. Just stack the knees. The hips are in line with each other. The feet are touching if you can. And for this one, I'm doing a little stretch. So have your arms out in front of you. So it should be comfortable for your head to find the mat. Knees can be as bent as you can, almost like you're sleeping. Nice. And make yourself heavy. Sometimes it takes a second after all that work. And the top hand is going to lead the way. The top hand slides forward so it touches the floor or your mat. Then that arm reaches over your head. Let the hand touch the ground the whole way. When it gets time to spin the chest open, you let the ribs open up. Let that shoulder just fall. And when you get to your hip, kind of just leap over the hip. And we come back to the start. So getting all that rotation of your shoulder. We'll do it one more time. Reaching, sliding the arm forward. You can kind of exaggerate your circle, pulling it up and back and behind and around. Nice. So now we'll do a little bit of work. We'll take you can have your hand supporting your head, or you can have your arm supporting your head, wherever you're comfortable. Just easier for me to see this way. So a lot of us is pressing into the mat here. And we want always the ribs on purpose to be pressing down, the ribs to be stacked. And like you could slide a piece of paper right underneath where your belly button is, it's probably not going to happen, but there's like a lift in the middle. The heels are going to press together, have the top hand on your hip. So we don't want any wobbling back and forth of the hips. Isolate that femur bone in the socket. I mean, these are our clamshells, so we press the heels together and we open up the knee as high as you can get it. Once you're here, imagine there's something pushing behind you. So you want that extra little push at the top, press down the ribs, and we just close them in, really simple. Okay, so we press down and open up. Try to not only use this muscle, but get behind you. It just takes a squeeze and like a leaning back. And we close. And we open. And we close. And we open. Good. And close. And last one, open. And close. Good. So now, we're going to make our legs long. More of a challenge for some wobbling. So if you're like me and you tend to wobble forward, it pays to kind of tuck yourself under somewhere where you don't wobble so much. We're going to have the arm long and our head or ear resting, and your top hand a little bit in front of you for support. Squeeze your legs together. You can even have those Pilates feet with the heels together and the toes a little separate. The belly that wants to relax is being pulled in. Press into your hand, but not too much. Squeeze your legs, take a breath in, and we're lifting both legs. Lowering without touching the ground, so they're hovering and lifting. Good, so think of your side body squeezing. Oops, I'm rolling. Inhale, lower, exhale. Nice. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, we lift. This time, point your toes and cross the feet like you're swimming ever so slightly back and forth. As much as you can, not wobbling so much. And going for our last one. Nice. And bending the knees back in our starting position. And we'll come up. So come off of the mat. We'll do a little warm up for the tricep, even though they've been a little warmed up before. So hand in line with your hip, but not close. Let's have it far away so it needs to support the hand, the weight of the body. What we're doing is bending the elbows straight down to the ground. First, we'll roll the shoulder back. Imagine your shoulder blades sliding into your rib cage. Then, if the ribs are popping out towards the bicep, let's put them back in. So I even keep my hand here in this exercise because I tend to pop out and lean like less of a banana shape. So you want head in line with the pelvis. You take a breath in, roll the shoulder back, press into each one of your fingers, especially the pinky, and bend the elbow like an elevator is going down. Keep that shoulder back, and we straighten the arm. Just a few of these. You can even kind of close your eyes and see what you need to do to get that tricep to engage. So we don't want the front of the shoulder doing the work. We want it to be behind the arm. And down and up. And down and up. Good. And down, even this little juicy part, we want to rush on the way up, taking your time and straightening the arm. And one more, just to make sure. And up. And now we'll come on to the forearm. The arm will face forward, not to the front or out in front of us. I make a fist, but you can make a hand. Elbows in line with the shoulder. Hips are stacked like we had them, and we pull the ribs in. So we don't want the ribs hanging out, we don't want the shoulder hanging out, we want this corset on. Press into the whole forearm from your wrist to your elbow, breathe in, lift the hips up, breathe out. Yeah. We lower the hips, barely tap the ground, and we lift. And we lower, and we lift. This time we're gonna add on to lower the hips, lift the hips, open your legs up like in the clamshell, knees together, and lower down. So 3 of those, not many, but let's do them. Push and lift the hips, open up at the top. There's lots of weight on that forearm, but it's supported through the ribs going down, knees together, and lower down. Last one, pressing the tricep, lifting the hips, opening up that top leg, holding. Good, knees together, and we lower down. Now I'll try some things still with this arm. We'll give it a little rest by holding the shin and just kind of bending the elbow. Nice. So for our last one, you can always go back to the variation we just did, or we have our forearm down, we have our knees less bent than they were before. Still bent, and still the feet are pressing together, but the knees are a little bit longer. So you can guess we're pressing into the forearm, lifting the hips, but kicking by straightening the legs. Nice. So now we're kind of going past the shoulder, but it's okay because we squeeze the leg, bend the knees to lower down slow. So even the way down is a little bit challenging. And just 2 more like this. Big breath in, push into your thighs 2, lift yourself up. Really nice. And we bend the knees and we lower. Now we're definitely feeling the back of the arm. Press and up. Maybe for this one, the arm reaches. And we lower down. And we switch our sides. So we get to do arm circles on this side with our arm that just worked really hard. So arms out in front of you, just like we had them, and we'll even out our sides. So at your own rhythm, reaching that arm forward, circling it up and around and back, letting your bones just fall to one side. And one more. So touching the ground the whole way. Nice. So we kind of switch our gears. We're going to find our clamshell position. Make sure everything's stacked, and you can see in one line. Line it up with your mat, ribs, pelvis, and feet. You can hold your head, or you can come all the way down. Bend your knees like quite a bit, and get the heels to press together. Stack the hips, and off we go with our clamshells. You can think of them almost like a warm-up, or you can get that extra squeeze at the top. Nice. And on the way down, imagine you have a resistance band on your thighs, opening up, lifting this belly, and closing in. So pressing the ribs, opening up, and squeezing in. Just a couple more, opening up, and in, and up, and in. Good. We'll lengthen the legs now. So each of our sides is really different. Find a spot you can control by pushing the rib cage down underneath the armpit, and imagine getting longer. Top hand will help you out. Already connect your heels and feel the inner thighs trying to squeeze together. Already feels like you can kind of lift. We'll take an inhale, lift those legs as high as they're gonna go. So you're at your kind of your max. Breathe in, lower them, but they don't touch the ground to hover. Inhale, they go up, use those obliques we worked. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, we lift. So if your neck and shoulders are trying to help you, tuck the chin, press the head down, and we lift. So we lower. Next time we lift, point the toes, do a little really tiny kicks. We don't want to throw off our pelvis too much. Just an extra challenge to keep those legs long and adding movement for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knees, push yourself off of the mat. The hand is pretty far away from you on the diagonal. Let's pull the ribs away from the arm, stack the ribs and stack the shoulders. This shoulder tends to come forward. If you have flexible shoulders, roll it back and down. Imagine it like it's being put back in a pocket behind you. And feel each one of your fingers, strong hand in the mat, bend the elbow, resist on your way down. Almost like these are your clamshells for your triceps. Push the palms and lift yourself up. Nice, resisting the mat the whole way as we go. Nice. So this is my left arm. Probably I use this tricep less. It's a little wobbly on the way down. I just need to slow it down, yeah, and push it up. So sometimes just doing this is like a nice alternative from like push-ups, just anything to get that tricep going. So last one, I can get carried away with these. So we bend, forearm comes forward. Resisting the ground again with your arm. Finding those hips stacked, maybe they didn't move. Give yourself some room, push your feet down, and we're ready to go. So these are the arm presses down all the way, shoulder rolls back. Nothing is gonna change over here as we lift the hips up. So it's kind of like a little test. Definitely using the belly, but use that tricep. Breathe in and up. Good. Down and up. This time we can open up. Just more weight comes onto that arm. Close first, lower down. And 3 more like that. Pressing, sliding the shoulder back to lift the hips, opening up. Nice, knee together and lower down. 2 more. Press down, lift the hips, open up. Knees together and lower down. Last one. Pressing down and open up. Knees together and lower down. Give your arm a little shake out. It's a lot on one arm. Bend the elbow. You can look past the arm or make circles. And here we go. Same kind of position. Maybe lengthen yourself a little bit on your mat. Make sure the heels aren't too forward. They're in line with the hips. Press the shoulder back, press into the arm, and we're ready to go all the way up. So breath in, lifting the hips, pushing on the feet and squeezing the thighs. Yeah, facing up with that shoulder. And bending the knees and lowering down. Push down, lift up. So using your butt to bend the knees and lower down. Last one, pushing the feet, the inner thighs, Definitely your arm into the mat. Let's try lifting this arm over your head, getting super long. And we come down slow. Good. So now we'll turn into a tabletop. Well, you can shake out your wrists if you need first. We'll just do one more plane of motion. You're on your hands and your knees. We're in our little bear pose. So in your bear pose, we're going to lift one of your knees into the air, just like a tabletop. Nice. So if you lift the knee too high, probably going to spill to one side. Do it somewhere you can feel like both of your bum cheeks are in one line. So do 5 pulses up, really push into your hands and send the belly up instead of letting relax. And we just do a little 5, 4, lifting from the knee, 3, 2, and 1. From here, don't drop the leg yet. Point the toes as long as you can get the leg. Rotate the thigh in. Look forward. You can tuck your other toes. Breathe in. We are bending the elbows like the nose is going to touch the ground. Lift your leg up. Push the ground. Come up. You can tap the toes down if you need or not. And 4 more, and it's kind of our finisher. So the leg goes long, rotate it in. Bend the elbows close in, like you're going to tap the nose and push yourself off. 2. So nice. So you're transferring this weight like a seesaw. Nose comes down, elbows pressed in. And 3. Good. 2 more if you can. Bending the elbows, they get hard. Nose comes down like you're diving. Leg lifts as much as you come down. 4. And last one. Bending the elbows, head first. Good, that was 5. Your knee comes back down. Give yourself a break just for a second, sitting back down onto the knees, rolling the wrists out if there's any pain. And we'll switch our sides. So first, really strong arms pushing against the mat. Chest is a little bit forward. We tend to want to go back. Squeeze the belly in and separate the shoulder blades. And we tuck the toes, lift one knee in a right angle behind you. If the belly falls like mine, squeeze it back in. And we're pulsing up for 5. Even if you lift an inch, press everything that's touching the mat. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that leg up, point the toes, extend that leg long, making one long line. Already pulling some weight forward into your hands. Breathe in, bend the elbows as you kick that leg up. Breathe out. Inhale, exhale. And keep going. You have 3 more. Inhale, make yourself long. Circle the thigh in is really the hard part. Bending the elbows close and diving your head down. Good. We have 2 more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Maybe you tap the toes if you need. Kick the leg back up and come down. Nice. Back into your tabletop. We'll do one last thing before we're done. Coming into a forearm plank. So both of your forearms. For Pilates, you can interlace your hands if that's a little bit easier, or hands in fists, or hands to the ground. Stretching your legs back from your bear pose. Good. We're going to look at our thumbs, squeeze the glutes, and push your heels back, and tap one knee down to the ground, straighten the leg, and tap the other knee down to the ground. So imagine you're going for a little walk, like those heel slides. Just holding this for 10 more seconds, keep going on your walk. So really pushing those heels back, sending the chest forward, and using your whole forearm in the ground. So probably 3, 2, and 1. Push your bum up into the air, like a forearm downward facing dog. Look forward, come forward, forearm plank. 2 more of these. Bum lifts, push into your forearms. Chest forward, look at your thumbs. Last one. Bum lifts. Come forward. Knees come down into a long arm child's pose. So your forehead could come down to the ground. Really stretch underneath the armpits. And round. A little threading the needle where we'll keep one arm long, circle your other arm underneath, and try to relax your head. You can widen your knees at this point too. And switch your sides. Good. And you can use your hands to walk yourself back up. Any other stretches you need? Or else, thank you very much. I hope to see you next week for our Pilates.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. You did so good.
Thanks. I've been working really hard since
October. Good.
Yeah.
It shows. It's good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye. Bye.